what's available in Derivita in case you've only dabbled in it a little bit, or you just haven't tried it at all. So for 2 school years ago, Canyons had hired Derivita to replicate exactly the practice problems for the middle school math curriculum, open up resources. And those practice problems are still available to you as a Canyons teacher. They are literally replications of what's in the student workbook. One of the cool things that Derivita does, though, is typically when they create their own questions, then they create what's called a randomization option. And I'll show you that in a minute. But these original questions, if you tried it 2 school years ago, you probably were frustrated because the kid could attempt the question 3 times or even fail it on purpose 3 times and then see the solution and then literally just copy and paste the solution into the 4th attempt and get full credit, and they didn't even have to think at all. So these questions are there, and there is definitely value to having these exact replica questions for an auto-graded situation. This right here is auto-graded. There's no typing involved for the teacher to have to look at. So if there's just a 1, then that's an auto-graded question, but the students can manipulate it and they can fail it 3 times, see the answer, and then try again and literally put in the correct answer. But since then, Derivita has also started creating their own question banks that are based on the Open Up Resources content, and those are available for middle school, and I know they have high school options as well, but I am very fluent and comfortable with the middle school, so I'll talk about that. Those are available. You can see the names of the units are exactly the same for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then if you arrow in, you'll see that there is each of the lessons. And the questions are modeled after the questions that are in the workbook. And if you see a question that has this little icon right here, that means that the randomization feature is utilized in that question. So if you open that question, you'll have an option to regenerate the question. And notice when you, I don't know what the difference is with this one. I'm not seeing it right away. Let's go to one of these area problems. It'll be a little easier to see. So I'm gonna open up this question, and I can see that if I regenerate the question, then I'm getting a different shape each time. And so when the student fails it 3 times in a row, they're prompted to try a similar question, they won't get the exact same question back. So there's no way to manipulate where they can fail intentionally, see the solution, and then put the solution in on their 4th attempt. So that is a cool option, and it also gives the students an endless number of attempts to work on a very specific skill. And so the shapes can change like we see here, or with other problems where there are numbers involved, the numbers can change so that we can see, this is again shapes changing, but let me find one where numbers change. So in a question like this, the thing that's going to change are going to be these numbers probably right here. The text otherwise is exactly the same, but when they try it again, they've got a different sized tank of gas, or tank of whatever collection, and then that's what's changing each time are the numbers. And so they will, after 3 attempts, get to see the solution and get to read through and process that solution. But then when they attempt it again, when they try a similar question, it will be different numbers. They can still apply the same strategy that's described in the solution, but they'll have to do their own computation, and so it will still be an application practice. So this is what it looks like on the teacher side. Again, what I've done with this activity is I have pulled together some questions, about 1 from each unit for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, just so you can have an idea of what those tasks look like. And I tried to pick some of the ones that are more dynamic and not just where you're just putting in a numeral answer, so that you can see the options that you really can't replicate with paper and pencil, to give a student multiple chances to make sense of a slope. You just can't really do that easily with pencil and paper. We've got a slope of negative 1/3 before it was positive 1/5. You really can't do that easily with paper and pencil. This is what it looks like for a student. We'll go into student view. They, of course, would not typically have an assignment this long, but again, this is that same assignment I built for you just so you could see some of the question types that are available in each grade. But they click into the question, they try it, okay? Complete the table. So maybe I can do 6 and 1, 36 and 6, and then I'm gonna mess this one up. And, oh man, 6 and 1 didn't work, and 40 is not correct. So they get that feedback, and then, unlike Canvas, where you have to reload the whole assignment again, one cool thing is they only have to change what is incorrect. And then of course, if I read the question, I might know better what goes right here. And then they would be able to get their feedback, very specific feedback. And then if they fail it 3 times in a row, then eventually they see the solution and they have to read through and make sense of that. And the solutions often will have supporting images and things like that as well. And then they get to try a similar question, and it auto-populates the same question again, but with changes to the numbers, or if there's shapes involved, it might be changes to the dimensions of a shape. Things like that. So it's really cool to be able to give the students opportunity to get that specific feedback, immediate feedback. So not like working in a workbook or working on a worksheet where they work on it at home and then they don't find out until they get to school the next day that they screwed up. They get that immediate feedback and they get to grow and to learn while they're working. And then if they're really stumped, I tell the students, if you really have no idea what to do, then intentionally fail it 3 times in a row if you have to. That's okay. Look at the solution, make sense of the solution, try a similar question. Again, if they're stuck on their worksheet or their workbook problem and they have no idea what to do, they probably won't do anything. So if you need any help getting set up with anything for Derivita, I use it all the time and I love the product and I'm happy to help you.